Hi, I'm Steve McCaskill from Tech Week Europe, and I'm here at UC Expo in London. I'm joined by Mark Carlile from AirWatch. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. I look forward to chatting with you, Steve.
Right, so let's kick off and just explain to us a little bit about AirWatch, what you do and what kind of customers you serve.
Yeah, certainly. So before we kind of dive into AirWatch specifically, it's probably useful to position where we help companies, which is really around the enterprise corporate marketplace, taking and looking at the business challenges they face, which is typically around their hard costs in terms of people and buildings, and then looking at how they can address and use technology to enable and address business challenge. That said, AirWatch is in a position to provide and manage, from a secure platform perspective, all aspects of mobility. Mobility in this case is, it started with email management, it started with the device management piece, and to be fair today, device management is very much a commodity. That has obviously grown and developed, over the last 2 or 3 years, where we've seen the advent of there's an app for this and an app for that, depending on the job function that you do, depending on user requirement. And more so as well is the ability to be able to share content and collaborate through secure enterprise file share. So what AirWatch do is provide a platform that's secure and addresses all of those individual areas within the corporation. But the drive is really to enhance either business productivity or business efficiency, whereas today a business community is very much dependent upon the use of a device, whether that's a smartphone, a tablet, or indeed a laptop. And now we're reaching out across obviously into desktop where corporations are still using that. Now a lot of businesses are finding that the use of technology as an enabler to address either growth, productivity, is where they're finding themselves needing to fulfill upon governance, compliance, and say retail, for example, around increased share of wallet, managing clients' expectation, and driving the user experience to a more productive, efficient mechanism. Classic example, if you're talking to a retail CIO, you're going to have a conversation about his pain points. Typically speaking, we'll be talking around how's he going to manage queue busting, how's he going to manage iBeacons in store. All this advent of technology is not the traditional, device. What it is technology that's enabling things to be done better, faster, and quicker. Spinning that on its head and looking at how we can address and help corporations, in essence, manage their user community safely and securely, is that you and I as users, we don't really care what device we're using. Ultimately speaking, our drive to our job function or in our day-to-day B2C existence is very much to look at, I want my data, I don't care how I get it, but I want it on my device. So you and I could be going to a football match, we want it on our smartphone, we want the football results, for example. Or we could be going to a retail exhibition, and therefore what we do want to see is that we have our tablets, we want data that's going to tell us about the vendors, the suppliers, the venue, whatever it might be. And then in the evenings, perhaps we're going home, we've been out, we have to catch up on our workload, we're going to be looking to utilise desktops or laptops to write reports. So a lot depends on the function and the role of what you're doing and how and where you will use the device that you want. And the AirWatch positioning around of all of that is that anytime, any place, anywhere, we're providing data securely and safely underneath a managed process. Sorry.
And in a nutshell, it's a crowded marketplace where a lot of people are interested in enterprise mobility and managing communications and data. What can AirWatch do that others can't? Why should businesses pick you?
That's a usual question we'll get, Steve. I think to be a little bit abstract, we take a step out again, is that last year in 2014 we were acquired by VMware Corporation. VMware Corporation is part of the EMC Federation. Now both those companies respectively have a long history within the IT marketplace. EMC specifically around storage, VMware around data center virtualization. And one of the key reasons that they acquired AirWatch was the advancements of technology that we had made as a corporation standalone around delivering successfully to the mobile marketplace. And as such, what that gives us is the scale and differentiation, both in terms of size and global remit, but also the amount of dollars and investment that's been pumped into keeping us abreast of technology. What you might not be aware of is that every 15 days there's a new release around mobility. So whether it's an iOS release, a Windows release, an Android release, and that requires a huge amount of investment to stay on top of your game. And one of the things we pride ourselves about is delivery on the day of a new operating system. So that's one particular aspect. The others I've touched upon would be scalability. I mean, today, for the role I do anyway, and the team we work with, is that we're looking at global operations across specifically Asia Pac, North America and Europe, who are looking at multi-level user deployments. And what they're looking for there is the safety and the risk avoidance, if you like, of working with a partner around enterprise mobility that's going to take away that pain. And around all of that, we're working with some humongous partners such as Accenture, HP, Capgemini, etc., who are also part of this overall partner ecosystem around enterprise mobility. That in itself is part and parcel of why people buy AirWatch. They can differentiate themselves and reduce their business risk.
I mean, as you mentioned, mobility is it's a fast-moving industry. Looking at your crystal ball, what are the biggest trends you foresee, and how can AirWatch help its customers with it?
I think a couple of areas. One I've touched upon, which is that we still have a fascination around app management, which we're more than capable of dealing with. One thing that's coming to the fore more and more is the data aspect, and data can be non-app driven. It can be document driven, obviously, and I see that as maintaining a stronger threshold during the course of this year. I think also around the Internet of Things, so where today we're seeing the advent of wearables coming into the marketplace, whether it be wearables from a glasses perspective or machine to machine in terms of being able to remotely manage, say, vending machines. So these are things that are becoming more and more propagated around the industry, not our industry, but the industry where people work. Field service is another big area whereby utilising technology such as tablets for enhanced communication and capture, whether it's pipe maintenance, in the air, it's obviously could be photographs, etc. So I think all that coupled together will see a drive towards the end of 2015. I think what we will see is that in the enterprise mobility space is a consolidation whereby we need to have a platform, and that platform will no longer just be about mobility. It's going to involve obviously strong integration to existing applications and existing infrastructure. It's also going to have excuse me again, have a lot more involvement with multi-touch points of an organisation. So that could be contractors, could be executives, employees obviously, or partners. So some of those things I see as taking a greater shape around globalisation and consolidation of the enterprise mobility market space.
Mark, thank you very much for speaking to me.
Thank you very much indeed, Steve. Cheers.